I wish to express my great respect to you as the IISS for the tremendous contributions you have made to regional peace and stability by having created in the Indo-Pacific region over close to 20 years the venue for dialogue among those involved in various countries' security, known as the IISS Shangri-La Dialogue. And yet, regardless of those efforts you have made last month, a Philippine boat transporting supplies in South China Sea was subjected to obstructive acts by a Chinese Coast Guard ship deploying a water cannon. This is not a tale of old from the 19th or 20th centuries, but rather something that just took place a few days ago. The world seas spanning from the Indo-Pacific to the Atlantic must be free and open. This is a fundamental thinking underpinning the Japan-UK Hiroshima Accord that our leaders agreed this past May. We cannot, under any circumstances, tolerate encroachment upon established freedom of the high seas or unilateral changes to the status quo by force. Mr. Robert Ward, the IISS Japan chair, is unfortunately not here with us today, but as his report analyzes with extraordinary accuracy, the security environment surrounding the Indo-Pacific region is becoming increasingly severe. Over the last 30 years, China has increased its military spending to a level almost 40 times what it used to be. Cases of Chinese military aircraft intrusions into Taiwanese airspace have skyrocketed over the past 2 to 3 years to 4 times previous levels. And North Korea has repeatedly engaged in nuclear development and has also launched ballistic missiles in violation of relevant United Nations Security Council resolutions. The international order based on the rule of law, which has served as the cornerstone of global peace and prosperity thus far, is now facing considerable challenges. Confronted with such a reality, we must continue to uphold the universal values of freedom, democracy, basic human rights, and the rule of law. It is precisely for that reason that we must achieve evolution. The very first negotiations on the TPP began 15 years ago. At the beginning of the 2000s, Japanese, US, and European manufacturers accounted for 90% of the share of solar panel manufacturing globally. That has now become 80% reliance on Chinese manufacturers. 15 years ago, who could have foreseen such a shift? In responding to the issue of climate change, time is of the essence. We must bring about a net zero society without fail. I shared my determination in this regard at the G7 ministers meeting on climate, energy, and environment held this April, which I chaired. At the same time, we cannot bury our heads in the sand in denial of Chinese-made electric vehicles currently sweeping through global markets, including Europe. China's automobile exports have risen explosively over the past 2 or 3 years, and there are even forecasts that this year, China will export over 4 million vehicles, growing past Japan to become the top automobile exporter in the world. Let me state this clearly to avoid any misunderstanding. I am not saying that dependence on China is a problem. It is being overly dependent on any one particular country be it China or be it any other country, that constitutes a risk. And we need to press forward with de-risking. That is my message here. Of course, in this world, in which we have reached such a high degree of mutual interdependence, it would be impossible to achieve anything like a complete decoupling. And yet, consider those solar panels and electric vehicles. Consider also batteries, semiconductors, critical minerals, and pharmaceuticals. Relying on only one particular country for critical supplies indispensable for our daily lives creates a risk that is absolutely enormous. This is something we learned firsthand from COVID-19 and the aggression against Ukraine. This is something that 15 years ago, no one even imagined. Therefore, even with the CPTPP, we cannot afford to stand still. In order to press forward with de-risking and ensure economic security, it is imperative for us to further evolve the international economic order. It was under that approach that today we launched the Japan-UK Strategic Economic Policy and Trade Dialogue, which brings together under one roof Japan's Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry, and the UK's Department for Business and Trade, Department for Science, Innovation and Technology, and Department for Energy Security and Net Zero.